carrying on the journey, and I know some of you may be getting hungry, so give us 15, 20 more minutes. One of the exciting things that the sector has seen, and you saw it in the discussion today as well, is that how the startups are bringing in some innovative ideas to the table and how they're trying to change the game as working along with the established players. So we thought it would be a good time to give opportunity to 3, 4 really cool startups to take 5, 10 minutes and give them give all of you an insight as to what they are doing and what their strong beliefs are. So with further ado, I'll hand it over to Rahul to coordinate the stuff.
Thanks, Vinish. You know what? I differ from what he said. I don't think these are cool startups. These are hot startups because they're solving some really, really terrible things in the transport logistics space. Um, are we ready with the presentation for Flux? Pranav, would you care to join and maybe give a quick intro on what you're doing and then start?
Hi, so as they load up my presentation, I'll just get started. So I'm Pranav Manpuria, CEO of Flux Auto. We're developing self-drive technology for commercial vehicles with an early focus on trucks. So Okay, I'll just get into it. So if we take an example of a simple trip that's quite often run in India, say a trip from Mumbai to Bangalore. So what we often see is Yeah, so this is a very, very common trip, right? So you're driving from Mumbai to Bangalore. So today the human driver drives to the origin warehouse, picks up the load, finishes up documentation, drives to the highway, continues driving throughout the highway, taking stops for food or fuel where he needs it. And then he gets closer to the exit at Bangalore, takes the exit, drives through the city, and then finishes unloading. So this whole trip takes anywhere between 9 to 11 hours based on the number of breaks he takes and the speed that he's going at. But he's required for all 9 to 11 hours to be attentive and to be in control of the vehicle at all times. So this leads to some problems, right? It's an unsafe job. Several thousand people lose their lives driving commercial vehicles in India alone every single year. And it's a job with long working hours in sort of an uncomfortable and harsh environment. And these three problems are leading to a bigger one, which is that of driver shortages. Right? The number of vehicles on the road greatly outnumber the number of drivers willing to drive them. And this is not only a problem in India, this is a problem globally. The new generation just doesn't want to get into this messy industry with long working hours, right? And the problem becomes even bigger when you actually understand that in India, in the last 18 years, we've sold over 10 million vehicles and trucks in the last 18 years. So what we've tried to build is a long-term solution to this, which is a modular self-drive kit for commercial vehicles. So it can be fit into new or existing vehicles in under 24 hours. The whole trip looks a little bit different. So he still drives to the origin warehouse, finishes up loading and documentation, drives to the highway. Once he's on the highway, he actually enters his destination. We quickly chart the best route to it. He enters in where he wants to stop for fuel or for food. We factor that in as well, and then he flips a switch and our self-drive system takes over. It continues driving throughout. He doesn't need to do anything, hands off the steering, feet off the pedals, and then as we get closer to the exit in Bangalore, we let him know and he can take control and then drive. So we've taken that 11-hour journey where he's required for all 11 hours, and we've dropped that down where he's probably needed for 3, and our system is doing the heavy lifting for the rest of it, right? So we're doing 4 main things: smart routing, where we choose the best path from point A to point B. We do lane keeping, where we find and stick to the optimal lane based on speed, traffic, and other environmental factors. Collision avoidance, where we're doing object detection, vehicle detection, pedestrian detection to prevent accidents from happening. And then also traffic sign detection, where we detect speed signs, toll signs, stop signs to make decisions like a human would. The objective is to do 4 main things, right? So we're trying to improve safety and efficiency by reducing the number of accidents using artificial intelligence and fleet learning. So we predict and prevent accidents better than humans. We have night mode, where existing resources can be run for longer hours. So if I'm a fleet owner with 10 vehicles running 8 hours a day today for 80 productive hours, I can run each vehicle maybe 4 hours a day more. So that's 40 productive hours extra every single day, which leads to improved revenues for me. It's also higher efficiency. So we understand the uniqueness of each vehicle and customize our algorithms around that to optimize things like speed and mileage. And ultimately, we're also taking the optimal route from point A to point B, because today what drivers are used to doing is taking the routes that are like muscle memory to them. That's not necessarily the best route at all times, but we're going to use the best route at all times every single time after checking with our system. Can you just play that video? I'll just play about 30 seconds of this. It's on our YouTube channel. So this is our truck. It's a 2002 Eicher vehicle, so it's 16 years old. And what it does is it's driving itself on the highways around Bangalore. So I'll just play a small bit of it because we don't have too much time, but you can feel free to watch it online as well. Yeah, sure. If you have any questions, feel free to just interrupt me. Sure.
I'm literally worried that how other people, because transport sector is a major employer in India, and how do you imagine, people reacting to it, and how do you ensure there are no strikes or strikes on your trucks?
With there are two main ways that we're solving this, right? So firstly, this is level 3 autonomy, where we're not looking to get rid of the driver at all. Eventually, that is obviously the goal of any autonomous vehicle company, is to be fully driverless. But there are 5 levels of autonomy. Level 0 is where absolutely no automation. It's your normal car. Level 5 is for Waymo, for example, where they're doing full automation. What we're doing is level 3, which is autonomy in most places, right? So it's highway to highway sort of autonomy. So the driver is still needed. In that example that I just showed you, he's still needed to do the loading, unloading, the driving between the cities, right? But the rest of it, we're doing it ourselves. And the second bit is that there is actually a driver shortage. Everyone believes that no, we're going to be stealing jobs, but that's actually not true. The biggest problem any automotive manufacturer we talk with is our customers are not buying enough vehicles because there are not enough drivers out there. Yeah, so you can just play a short bit of this. So this is our truck, the mystery machine, driving in the highways around Bangalore. So we did a 10-kilometer fully autonomous run. You'll just pay attention on the top. You saw there was one vehicle that drove past. You'll see another couple of vehicles, and there's a cow crossing as well, and that's where we'll probably cut off the video. Yeah, there was another vehicle driving towards us. Maybe a cow crossing in a bit. This is all happening in real time. The driver doesn't need to do anything at all. There was a cow right there. So you see that this is not something that's 5 years away or a decade away. It's something that's happening right now, and it's happening in India, where people obviously know that it's the world's most dangerous highway system since 2016 for 3 years in a row, and it's super chaotic. You can just go to the next slide, please. So this is all happening in real time, right? So this is not something that we're just talking about. It's something that we're actually doing, and we're going to be deploying very soon as well. Yeah. Any questions? Or you can just go next. Yeah, one more. The next one as well. Okay, so it's not working. What really sets us apart from our competition are the 4 main principles we've tried to build this company around. Firstly, it's modular. So we're not building a vehicle around our technology. We're building our technology around vehicles, right? So we don't need to be embedded into an OEM production line to actually get this out. So the vehicle that you saw was a 2002 vehicle. We've not done anything special with Eicher to get this vehicle up and running, right? So whether it's new, old, we don't really, it doesn't really affect us in any way. It's built to be vehicle agnostic and brand agnostic. It's LiDAR-less navigation, so we don't use LiDAR. So LiDARs are very expensive spinning lasers that map an environment, but they cost between $5,000 to $100,000 each, and the processor that you need to process that data costs about $20,000. Our entire kit costs less than the cost of one single LiDAR. So we've used affordable cameras and sensors to do the exact same thing. Last year, we took a big bet on deep learning, and when everyone was saying that no, LiDARs were the only way of doing it, and then our bet kind of paid off, and now everyone's understanding that deep learning is the way to go. Even Waymo is using that right now. We're doing it only on highways, so we're taking a big piece that's self-driving and doing one small part of it, which is easier to commercialize, so we'll get out there quicker to answer your question. So we're doing level 3, not level 5. We'll get there eventually, but not right now. And then we're building in India. So deep learning, you need data, and data is like the lifeblood of it, and we're building with the chaotic systems in India and the chaotic data of India, so it's far simpler for us to actually do this. Next slide, please. Yeah, target markets, trucks for now in India and Southeast Asia, and then going forward, obviously, other global markets and other vehicles as well. We're actually working on an autonomous shuttle at the moment with one of our other companies, but primarily focused on trucks at the moment. Next slide, please. So we have two main aspects of our revenue model. One is the cost for the hardware. You can either buy it upfront or lease it from us. And then we have a SaaS model for the software updates. And then we also have an annual maintenance fee for any hardware issues that might crop up. Next slide, please. We're looking to raise some money right now to mainly deploy more test vehicles, begin large-scale data collection, and then finish version 1 of our entire prototype. Next slide, please. So this is our team. So we're a team of 16 people building this 3 kilometers from here. We have 3 main advisors and investors. Avinash Datta, who is the ex-tractor head of Mahindra. He's currently also an advisor to Mahindra and TVS, so he's an advisor investor in us. Basilid, who's previously worked with DHL Freight and Express, currently heading FIATA's regions of the Middle East and Africa. And also Madhukar Manpuria, who's been with Continental AG for over 10 years and currently running his own startup. Next slide, please. That's it. If you have any questions, I'd love to take it now. Sure. Right. It's very clear that level 5 autonomy is not allowed in India because you're removing the driver from the driver's seat, and pretty much everywhere that's not really allowed. In some states in the US, they are allowing it, but level 3, where we're not replacing the driver, where the driver can still take control, it's not illegal, but it's not necessarily very legal either. So it's kind of a gray area.
So can this be taken to market immediately?
Yes, but honestly, we're not looking at India as a market to begin with. People are a little bit more apprehensive in India is what we have seen. So we're looking at some of the other Southeast Asian markets to start off with.
How are you managing the hardware failures in case something happens in between?
Sure. So we have our onboard OBD. It's an onboard diagnostic system. So we understand all the sensors and the systems that we have. The moment something stops working, we actually kill the system and hand over the control back to the driver. So that's something that's... Yes, we do. So we have an alert in case we feel that we're not the best driver. So if we feel an accident's about to happen, we immediately hand over control back to the driver, make a loud noise so that he knows he needs to take control. Or if any of our sensors are not working, any part of the system is not working, again, make a loud noise and then hand it back to the driver.
Are there any sensors in the cabin to detect if the driver is snoozing off?
Right. So that's not something we actually added, but we're working with a truck manufacturer who's suggested that we do. So we're looking at adding a drowsiness detector and also like the alcohol bit where you can actually like blow in and only then you can drive it. So that's something that we're adding, but it takes about a week to add that because it's already there. But so our focus is primarily the self-drive bit, not these auxiliary sensors. Right. Thank you.
Awesome. That was great. Ooh, Indian Tesla. So we have next Hop On, which is solving a really dirty and a boring problem. Let's see how they're killing it. Up to you, Senthil.
This is also a warm introduction. So we are Hop On, and we provide transport solutions to corporates. We connect the 3 key entities in any transport problem. We connect the passengers, we connect the corporates who want services, and we connect cabs. The key 3... okay, a quick question which Rahul thinks I should ask you all. How many of you all have transport from your organization to go to office? How many of you all self-drive? Rather. Self-drive? Okay. So then you need a solution like us, right? And I'm sure most of you all are tired of that, right? So the key things which we're trying to solve is, one is a trip digitization, so that you can track the entire route and get better optimization over time. We have a routing algo to decide how to put people all in one cab going in one route. And we're one of the key things about Hop On is we are vehicle agnostic. We don't mind grouping people even in a sedan or a van or a bus. We don't think it should be only a bus. And the other important thing is we also want to be like a one company solution for a particular corporate. So we just don't provide commute related transport solutions. We also provide business travel cabs across anywhere in India. So if you want to go to some remote place like Theni in Tamil Nadu, you can still ask us and we'll get you a cab, and that particular trip will be a digitized trip. So we have grown 7 times last year. We have been growing about, we've already hit our last year's revenue number by the first 6 months of this year. Just to give you a few stats on where we are, we have about 16 business-to-business clients. We have about 800 vehicles running on our platform. These are monthly stats. We have about 3,500 active users. When I mean active users, they would have done a trip at least once or twice in the month. And we do about 35,000 trips a month. If you take our revenue split, it's kind of evenly split between what we call as employee commute, uh, that is going from home to office and back, and business travel. Business travel could be taking a rental cab anywhere in India. And since we are a technology-led company, we do provide our transport automation software as just as a SaaS offering. So there are some clients who have their own vehicles or have their own vendor partners, cab vendor partners, who just use our software. So we split our gross margin. We do about 20% of gross margin using just as a SaaS company, and the remaining 80% is where we do it end to end. We provide the cab, fleet, and operations. If you really see the way we look at us, if you abstract, now I've just given you a lot of details, but if you abstract out what we're really trying to solve, we think planned travel is an area that can be optimized. Today we see most of the big names trying to optimize real-time stuff, right? So if most of you have taken a shared Ola share or a Uber pool, you would have realized you don't know when you're going to get the vehicle. At the key times when you want to go to office and come back from office, the prices are crazy. You often go on some random detours, right? But actually it's a planned travel, right? Morning hours going to office and back is a planned travel. So one of the things we think is in planned travel, optimization is really possible, right? There is a fixed destination, there are fixed timings, it's a recurring model, right? When you have all these fixed variables, it's more easy to optimize. You can reduce the cost on the demand side, right? By a sharing model. And on the supply side also, drivers are a little frustrated. They don't know whether they're going to hit their daily target of trips, things like that, right? When it's all real time. Again, so when it's planned, again, you're kind of helping him make his daily money. He becomes more reliable as a person who can take you, right? So that's the aspect of planned, and we want to focus more on that. We're not focusing on real time at this point. If you really see the market also, it's pretty big in India and in globally. If you take the Indian market, if you take the top 10% of the folks from a salary standpoint, who live in a metro and who own a car and who probably drive to work, that market itself is about $12.6 billion, okay? And if you look at other countries like US, where the driving to work is even more, it's about $100+ billion. In UK, where about 26 million people commute to work, again, it's a big market, about 9 billion. So it is a very big market to focus on and build a strong capability and solutions around. If you take even business travel, somebody wants to travel to Mira from a Bangalore corporate has one of their sales staff or a medical rep staff going to some place in Mira. It's very difficult to get a kind of one single vendor who's going to cut across all these towns and provide a unified pricing and a unified service, right? That's another area where Hop-on excels in. We have partnerships with cab vendors across 150 cities in India, and we can provide that same unified experience in all these places. So one of the key things about Hop-on is we are a technology-led company. We don't aggregate vehicles. We only partner with vendors and provide the end-to-end service. So what does our platform really do? We focus on three key areas, right? One is optimization, the other is communication, and the third is live tracking. So when I say optimization, it is things like how can for a particular ride profile, how few vehicles should I use? How can I pack in more people going in a particular route so that I can reduce the number of routes to office? So those are, if I have a delivery to do, if I have 20 deliveries to do in the next 1 hour, how can I do it in the fewest stops and the fewest delivery agents? Okay, so those are some of the optimizations. We do a lot of tracking. We check who's got into the vehicle, who left the vehicle, when did the driver stop, when did the driver go. So all that is there, right? Our revenue model is, it could be either trip-based or slab-based. So if it's a SaaS model, it's typically slab. month-on-month subscription, or it could be trips recurring on for a 15-day period or a 30-day period. So that's our revenue model. And what's a product service roadmap? We have a bunch of things lined up. One is we want to have an automated monitoring using machine learning so that we can actually track. When you have some thousands of vehicles that you're tracking, you want to have it in a learning-based model, which kind of raises alerts automatically. Today, safety compliance is a big issue. We have drivers stuck in siloed companies with Ola, Uber. You want to kind of aggregate them into a common blockchain kind of registry so that everybody has a view on a particular driving history and things like that. And I won't get into details because I'm running out of time, but yeah, huge number of things. So we have a founding team where each founder is managing a particular function, right? So we have Kishore for a product manager, somebody for business development, somebody in the architecture, operations side. So all the key typical organizations functions are being managed by a founder. Okay. So what's the route? If you really take the future, right, the future is all about subscription. It's about autonomous. And though some of these aspects in mobility are at least a year or two down the line, Hop-on is kind of at the point today where we're kind of giving you both the solutions in a manual human operated mode, which can easily blend into the future when it starts getting more automated. Thank you. Any questions?
Just want to ask you, the platform that you have, is it customizable? So
Yes.
if another organization has a different need, for example, a large enterprise has a lot of staff buses, and maybe want to connect the employees in staff buses from pickups, blah blah blah. So can this be modified
Yes.
to that?
Actually, if you're in a B2B market, you have to be ready to customize the solution.
All right, cool, great, thanks.
Yeah, this is given for all the vendors, right? I mean suppliers who are supplying the cabs to the corporates. Am I right?
We have both as our clients. We have some corporates who've taken it as a service end to end.
Or from the corporate side.
Yeah.
But if I have a client, sorry, when supplier, who can use this kind of software?
Vendors are also our clients.
Okay, one. Second, this also comes along with call, help desk, all that stuff.
Everything. Yeah.
So
it's a
you
fully
can,
outsourced solution.
okay, you can monitor all that,
Yeah.
all escalations, complaint
Yes,
management.
we have something called as partial managed operations where we'll use the technology and some ops and manage the complete operations.
Including the the current all these
Correct.
help desk. Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks.
Okay. Anyway, you can reach out to me later if you have any other questions. Thank you.
Ooh, people transported. What next? Let's transport some goods. I have Quivers, here to present how they manage it so well. Please, Adarsh.
Everyone, and thanks Rahul for the introduction. So, can you? Yeah. So, my name is Amit Mishra, and I'm representing Quivers. So, Quivers is basically a SaaS-based technology logistics startup, and we are trying to, you can say, solve a plethora of problems that we discussed in the panel discussion. And how we are trying to solve those problems is with the help of, you can say, innovative technologies, where we have made some, you can say, groundbreaking algorithms which help our customers reduce their costs as well as streamline their operations while taking into account all these service level optimizations which we talked about in panel discussion. So, can you go before a little? The first slide. Yeah. So when you talk about logistics, you name it and there is a problem. I mean, logistics in India, especially technological intervention in logistics is in very nascent stages. Uh, there is problem related to underutilized capacity of trucks. There is problem related to insufficient routing. There is problem related to manual dependency while planning your logistics. And as we discussed in the panel discussion, people don't even know about those inefficiencies because they have a mind of their own. People, when they are planning, you can say, to transport their goods and they are sitting in a plant or a warehouse, they generally don't know how inefficiently they are doing it. So if you talk about, yeah, please go to the next slide. Yeah. Yeah. So these are some of the problems that we have written down. I mean, I have already told you most of these problems. So generally, the problems which are there are related to the manual planning which is happening. I mean, there is no system to tell exactly how you should plan the route of the trucks, how you should fill your trucks. So there are multiple problems actually which are trying to solve. So to tell you about how big is the opportunity, I mean, so in India, transportation, especially road transportation market size is around $150 billion. And if you talk about how much is the logistics cost for a developed country, it is about 7 to 8% of their GDP. While in India, it is about 13 to 14%. So that itself tells how inefficiently we are planning our logistics movement. So if you take into account some of the client deployments that we have recently done, so we have been able to save on average annual cost of INR 10 CR for a single enterprise and INR 40 lakhs for a single SME. And that is also, you can say, only in one leg of the logistics. When you compound it with multiple legs of logistics, a typical, you can say, enterprise like Dabur or Marico or HUL, they can save cost up to, you can say, 25 to 30 CR every annum. So that is the, you can say, type of optimization that we are talking about here. And now we discussed a lot about, you can say, problems which are there in logistics field. Now to tell you about how we are exactly trying to solve those problems. So this is how a typical, you can say, supply chain of any industry would look like. So the goods movement will start from plant or mother warehouse. It will go to the hubs or warehouses or depots as they call it. Then it will go to the distributors or the last mile hubs. From there it will go to the end customer or retailers. So they generally call it primary, secondary and tertiary transportation. Now we have made two products which cater to all the three legs of logistics. The first product is Quivers Truckload Builder, which caters to the primary and secondary logistics, and it is applicable for, as we've written, like FMCG, tire, pharma, electronics, oil, and any other manufacturing company that you talk about. So wherever the goods movement is happening, our products are applicable over there. Then if you talk about the last mile or the tertiary logistics, then we have made a product Quivers Delivery Management System, which caters to the last mile movement of the goods. And here the most problem is about the routing of the goods. So what is the USP or the underlying algorithms that we have made? So using our algorithms, we are not only telling how you should be routing the trucks for the intercity or intracity movement, we are also telling you exactly what should be the selection of the trucks, what should be the filling of goods of the truck, what should be orientation of the different boxes in a truck. So there is a problem related to 3D packing as well as selection of trucks and related to many movement types which can happen from suppliers to the destinations. This is something that we have made. These are the proprietary algorithms which are present in our product. Now I'll just play a video which will make, you can say, these problems and the solutions more clear.
No matter where you sit in a supply chain, the complications involved in planning and managing deliveries costs businesses huge amount of time, resources, and money. What if you could control the chaos and truly transform your supply chain? Introducing Quivers, the technology that makes your logistics intelligent. Our advanced algorithms help you create smart delivery plans to achieve maximum resource utilization, all with a click of a button. Forget worrying about compliances with automated e-way bill generation. Get full transparency over your operations with live tracking and real-time updates. And better operational control using EPOD-based delivery authentication. Most importantly, become more customer-centric with ETA updates and service feedbacks. Run your supply chain in an agile mode with reduced cost, actionable insights, and streamlined operations. Want to understand how you can upgrade your logistics? Visit Quivers at www.quivers.com.
Now to talk about what we have achieved up till now. So in current quarter, we are going to close around 1.1 CR of revenue, and this is from purely SaaS technology. And the next quarter, we are planning to close around 1.5 CR based on current traction that we are having. So we have major clients like Marico, Dabur, Sun Pharma, and you name it. I mean, most of the clients, either we are engaged in a POC or we have already deployed our product over there. So this is something we have achieved up till now. Yeah. So what lies next? I mean, so we have already made those products. I mean, in every company that we are pitching, or in every company that we have gone up till now, these products are finding the applications over there, because all the practical constraints or the service level constraints which can be there, they have been incorporated in the products. So they are pretty much suited to the Indian logistics requirement. I mean, which is a very difficult problem to solve, actually. So now we are looking to raise capital for, you can say, three different things. We are trying to, you can say, go outside India. I mean, for business development, we are looking to go to Middle East, Europe, and all these other, you can say, nations. We are planning to have some industry partnerships. We are already engaged with some of the, you can say, companies like Etikani and these kind of, you can say, players in the consulting domain. Then in technology, we are planning to set up, you can say, our research labs to do research on the big data and machine learning, because the kind of data that we are collecting as of now, it is a very powerful data. I mean, which truck is moving, what kind of capacity it is carrying, what place would the truck would reach at a particular point of time. So there is something, you can say, this kind of data is very powerful, and the prediction network that can be made, we can create a load sharing network across the country using this particular data. So this is something that we are planning to raise our capital for. And with this, I will, you can say, go ahead with the introduction of the team. So this is our co-founding team. Currently, we are a team size of 30. And the co-founding members, we come from IIT Roorkee. And we have varied experience in the supply chain, logistics, sales, and technology domain. So this is, you can say, the introduction of the team. And with this, I'll open the conversation for the questions.
So are the brands directly clients to you, or a massive player in logistics like a delivery would be a client to you?
No, so delivery, you can say, can be a client to us, but you can say the players like, as I told, FMCG companies, oil companies, tire companies, they are direct client to us. So because we are approaching them and telling them that we are able to reduce their costs. So our revenue model works like this. I mean, we tell them we will be able to reduce your cost, and you give us a percentage of that cost saving to us.
Understood. Any more questions?
Yeah, I mean, so this is something that can work with any company. I mean, because even if you're deploying only one or two trucks, we would be exactly telling you what truck you should you can needing for the transportation of goods, and how you should pack your goods into the truck. So that is something that 3D packing does. So essentially, we are increasing the utilization of trucks, and which in turn reduces the cost for the clients. So it is applicable for SMEs also.
So the 3D packing module is fairly customizable, versatile with respect to truck bodies, different
Exactly.
packaging, different dimensions.
Exactly. So it
All
is
that is in
basically
place.
that is available on the front end. You just need to put in the parameters, and it will give you the result accordingly.
Thank you.
So Amit, just one last question. Oh, a lot of fleet owners, why would they not be your direct consumers?
So fleet owners who are doing, you can say, part truckload kind of movement, they are, you can say, client to us. But people who are providing only the trucks to the clients, they cannot be, you can say, our customers, because we are giving our product to the clients directly, and they are telling them to deploy that particular type of truck. So people who are doing part truckload movement, there they need to, I mean, plan on their own which type of truck they should need. So those kind of transporters, those kinds of fleet owners can be our client, but not the clients who are not the transporters who are providing full truckload to the customers.
Superb. Thanks. Anyone else? Yeah.
With respect to 3D planning and all kind of thing, do you really think there is any inefficiencies right now with the SMEs? You know,
Yeah, so to tell you, basically, in an SME, as of now, for 3D packing, especially 3D packing module, we have not yet deployed, but for sun pharma or pharma industry, I mean, where the volume of the goods is more than the weight of the goods, there 3D packing becomes pretty important. So we have been able to save cost in the tune of crores for sun pharma. So with SMEs, I mean, the customers that we have, they are more, you can say, have those kind of goods which are more in terms of weight as compared to volume. So their 3D packing isn't applicable. I mean, because your truck will be, you can say, filled before any volume constraint will come into picture.
Is a 3D packing module a proprietary algorithm?
Yes, absolutely.
And do you guys plan to scale that as an external product other than your standard package of offerings?
Yeah, so that has been, you can say, made as an external module. So any kind of, you can say, client who wants a 3D packing, then only we will be providing him a 3D packing. Otherwise, you can say companies like Dabur or companies like Marico, where weight of goods is more as compared to the volume of the goods, there we haven't provided them 3D packing module. But for pharma companies, obviously, I mean, 3D packing is very important for them. How to fill the trucks efficiently is something that increases their fleet utilization by at least 10%.
Okay. Do you see that getting applied in places like stowage planning at larger spaces?
Absolutely. I mean, because essentially what you need in this product is that you need to define the dimensions of the container. The container can be a warehouse also, and you need to provide us the SKU details. So SKU is basically stock keeping units, the cases, their weight, volume, and LBH. Basically, this is something which we need, and it can be applicable anywhere. So, like to tell you more about, I mean, we are in touch with many other pharma companies who want for the exports that they are doing. So for these containers that they are shipping in the oceans or the sea, they want the 3D packing module over there also.
Lovely. All the best.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks a lot, Amit. Thanks. Thanks, everyone. Guys, we have the next panel starting at 2, where you will hear from some fantastic companies and startups, especially Riddler, Shuttle, that are solving some massive ground transport problems. So have a nice lunch. See you.